Good morning, children. I'm very happy and privileged to meet you again through our online class. Well, in the previous class, we have learnt about modern periodic table and the features of periods. Yes, I hope you all have gone through the video and also you have learned the names of the elements. Am I right? Good. Today, we are going to learn about the features of groups. Before that, you know what is period and the total number of periods in the periodic table. What is period? The horizontal rows in the periodic table are called periods. And how many periods are there in the periodic table? Totally 7 periods are there in the periodic table, right? Let's see about groups in the periodic table. Just look at the periodic table. There are many vertical columns. Yes, the vertical columns in the periodic table are called groups. There are 18 groups in the periodic table, starting from top to bottom. We know that the elements in each group are placed based on common characters. Yes? Okay. Next, we shall see the names of the groups. That is, the first group name, the second group name, and so on. The first group name is alkali metals. What is the name of the first group? Yes, alkali metals. What is the meaning of alkali? Let me explain you the meaning. The alkali metals are basic in nature. What is the meaning of basic? You have studied in your lower classes, yes? Which means, that is the basic means having the characteristics of a base. Now what is base? Bases are substances that accept hydrogen to form an acid. Bases easily dissolves in water. So when any metal oxide, that is lithium oxide, sodium oxide, potassium oxide, if it dissolves in water, it forms soluble hydroxides. This is about alkali, the first group. Then about the second group. The name of the second group is alkaline earth metals. Well, you know about alkali. Here the word earth was given to oxygen. So why are they called alkaline earth metals? This name comes from the fact that the oxides of these elements produce basic solution. See here beryllium oxide, magnesium oxide, calcium oxide. When dissolves in water, they form basic solutions. That is, they form hydroxides. Like the first group elements, these alkaline earth metals are too reactive and are found in nature in their elemental form. What's the next group? The next group is called transition metal. It's from 3 to 12. Group 3 to 12 are called transition metal groups. Here the lanthanides and actinides which form the part of group 3. We know that the lanthanides and actinides are called inner transition elements. Yes. 13th group name is called boron family. Because the first member of the group is boron, B. So it is called boron family. When we see the next group, 14th group, the name of the family is carbon family. Because the first element is carbon. So the 14th group is called carbon family. Then the 15th group name is nitrogen family because the first member in this group is nitrogen. So the 15th group name is nitrogen family. What's the next group? 16th group. The name of the 16th group is oxygen family. The first element in this group is oxygen. So the 16th group is called oxygen family. The other name for this family group is chalcogen family. What's the other name of this family? Chalcogen family. What's the meaning of the word chalcogen? The first word chalcose means ore, O-R-E, ore. And gen, G-E-N means generators. That is ore generators or ore farmers because they all are be found in copper ores. The next group is 17th group. The name of the 17th group is called halogens. Here halo means salt and gen means generators. So halogen means salt generators. See the last group. It's on the far right of the periodic table. Yes? This group 18 elements are called zero group elements. Okay? The other name of this group is noble gases or inert gases, and they are also called as rare gases. All the elements in this group are gases. Noble gases most often found as monoatomic gases. What do you mean by monoatomic? You have studied earlier, isn't it? In the previous lesson. If the number of atom is 1, then it is called monoatomic. If the number of atoms is 2, then it is called diatomic. Example, hydrogen molecule, chlorine molecule, because they have 2 atoms. Here the gases helium, neon and other elements, they have 1 atom and they have no tendency to react with other elements. And so they form very rare compounds with other elements. They are chemically inactive also. That's why they are called as rare gases. This group contains non-metal elements. These elements, they exist as single atoms, so we call them as monoatomic. They have 8 electrons in the valence shell, and they also have stable electronic configuration. Understand, children? Okay, we have learnt all the names of the groups, right? We shall see about shell, subshell orbitals, electronic configuration. Okay, children, this you might have learnt in your lower classes. Anyhow, I'll explain you once again. These are the basic things we should know clearly before we study about the elements. Okay, this is the present expected form of the structure of atom, in which you know that the electrons revolve around the nucleus of an atom in fixed orbit or shells. So, are these electrons distributed randomly? That is, can there be any number of electrons in any shell? No. There is a definite distribution or arrangement of electrons around the nucleus, which is known as the electronic configuration of the atom. Here, it follows certain rules. According to Bohr's atomic model, we know that electrons revolve around the nucleus in circular path, that is called orbits. These orbits are also called as energy levels or shells. Yes, these energy levels are represented by principal quantum number, that is n. It is represented by a simple n which contains only integral values, that is 1, 2, 3, etc. These shells are also represented by the letters, that is K, L, M, N, etc. Yes, the name of the first shell is K, second shell is L, the third shell is M, and the fourth shell is N. So the energies of electrons of the shells increases from K shell onwards according to certain rules. Let's see the rules one by one. The first rule is the maximum number of electron in a shell is calculated by using the formula 2n square, where n is the number of shells. So when you substitute the number of shells in this formula, the K shell can accommodate maximum number of 2 electrons, and the L shell can have maximum number of 8 electrons. M shell can have maximum number of electrons 18. N shell can have maximum number of electrons is 32. The second rule says electrons are not accommodated in a given shell unless the inner shells are filled. That is, the shells are filled in stepwise manner. As we add electrons in the orbit, the electrons first occupy the first shell, that is K shell. It has lowest energy, and when the first shell gets filled, the electrons move on to the second shell. It has more energy than the first shell. That is, the shells are filled in stepwise manner. What's the third rule? When the size of the shell increases, the energy of the shells also increases. Once again I repeat, when the size of the shell increases, the energy of the shells also increases. So the maximum number of electrons that can be accommodated in the outermost orbit is 8. Okay children? The maximum number of electrons we can accommodate in the outermost shell is 8. This is very, very important. So children, we have learnt about orbit and shells. Let me explain all these concepts with an example. Let us take oxygen element. Here, oxygen element has 8 electrons. The first shell can accommodate only 2 electrons, and the remaining 6 electrons are accommodated in the second shell, that is L shell. So the electronic configuration of oxygen is 2, 6. This follows the second rule, that is, the shells are filled in stepwise manner. First, 2 electrons are accommodated in the first shell, that is based on the first rule, and based on the second rule, the shells are filled in stepwise manner. Next, the maximum number of electrons in the outermost shell must be 8. That is the third rule. Yes? Look at the electronic configuration. Here we have only 6 electrons in the outermost shell. So it also obeys the third rule. This is the electronic configuration of oxygen. Next, we shall see about suborbitals or subshell or sub-energy level. Okay? It is a subdivision of electron shell. What is suborbitals or subshell? It is a subdivision of electron shell. Here the subshells are denoted by the letters S, P, D and F. What is S, P, D and F? S means sharp, P means principal, D means diffuse and F means fundamental. Right. Now the number of electrons the subshell S can accommodate is 2. And for P, the maximum number of electrons is 6. And for the D subshell, the maximum number of electrons is 10. And for the F subshell, the maximum number of electrons is 14. So as far as the first shell K, it has only one subshell. That is S, because it can accommodate only 2 electrons. For the second shell L, it has 2 subshells S and P, because it can accommodate 8 electrons. For the third shell M, it has 3 subshells S, P and D, because it can accommodate 18 electrons. For the fourth shell N, it has 4 sublevels or 4 subshells, that is S, P, D and F, because it can accommodate 32 electrons. Now let's see what is valence shell or valence electron or valency. Okay. The outermost shell is known as the valence shell, the last shell of an atom. Okay. Then what is valence electron? The electrons present in the valence shell of an atom are called valence electron. That is, the total number of electrons present in the outermost shell. They are called valence electron. The next is valency. What is valency? The capacity of an atom to give, accept or share electrons to achieve the octet state. Let's see with an example. See the first group elements. Hydrogen. The first element is hydrogen. Hydrogen has only one valence electron. Yes? What's the next element? Lithium. Its atomic number is 3. So what is its electronic configuration? 2, 1. In the first shell, it can accommodate only 2 electrons. So the remaining 1 electron will move on to the second shell. So the valence electron and the valency is 1 here. If we see the second group elements, what's the first element? Beryllium. The atomic number of beryllium is 4. So what is the electronic configuration of beryllium? 2, 2. Here in beryllium, the outermost shell has 2 electrons. So the valency of beryllium is 2. If we see the magnesium element, the atomic number of magnesium is 12. What's the electronic configuration of magnesium? 2, 8, 2. In the first shell, it can accommodate 2 electrons, and in the second shell, it can accommodate maximum number of electrons, that is 8, and the remaining 2 electrons move on to the third shell. So the valency of elements in this group is 2. Likewise, all the elements present in each group have same number of electrons in their valence shell. So let us recall once again. The valency of alkali metals is 1, and for the second group the valency is 2, and for the third group, that is transition elements, the valency is 3, and so on. These are the basic things we should know. Okay, children? Except group 0 or group 18, all the elements present in each group have the same number of electrons in their valence shell. And so, they have same valency. Though elements in the group have similar valence shell configuration, they also have similar chemical properties also. You know that metals have both physical and chemical properties. Yes? What is physical property? Physical property means the elements can be observed without changing the identity of the substance. Okay? Some properties are appearance, texture, color, odor, melting point, boiling point, density, etc. What is chemical property? Properties that describe how a substance changes into a completely different substance are called chemical properties. Some properties are flammability, toxicity, acidity, reactivity, and so on. Let me explain the physical and chemical properties with one example. You all know about iron. Yes? What's the color of iron? It is grayish white in color, and it is a lustrous material also. Lustrous means what? Shining metal. It's a physical property. When this iron combines with oxygen in the presence of water, it forms rust. Yes? This is a chemical property. Okay? Understand? Well, in groups, the physical properties of the elements such as melting point, boiling point, and density, they vary gradually. That is, they have slight variation in each group. See the last group, the 18th group. What's the name of this group? Zero group. What's the other name of this group? Noble gases or inert gases or rare gases. Yes, the elements in this group have stable electronic configuration. It follows the octet rule. You have studied about electronic configuration, isn't it? That is, the outermost shell can accommodate maximum number of electrons is 8. In this group elements, the outermost shell have 8 electrons. So, it has completely filled electronic configuration and are chemically inactive. Okay, children? This is about the features of groups. So, children, by heart all the names of the groups and periods. Go through all the videos and write notes in your science notebook. That's all for today. We shall meet in the next class. Thank you.